What do you do if a film icon of the last 40 years speaks out against the actions of your company and calls it an embarrassment? Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Warwick Davis made the news the other day, and by making the news, we mean that he literally made the news himself by tweeting out about the cancellation of Willow by the Walt Disney Company. We say cancellation, but really it was the wiping of the slate clean by the Walt Disney Company. Whether or not it's for a future reboot, whether or not it's to firmly say that they are not going to do another one of these, or whether it is to bring Willow out on another streaming service like they did with Spiderwick Chronicles, which was originally a Disney Plus series that was finished and then moved over to Roku for use on an ad-supported streamer. Either way, we got together the panel to talk about Willow, Warwick Davis, and just what the problem was here with the Walt Disney Company. Let's get started. Willow's Warwick Davis calls the removal of the Disney Plus series from streaming platforms embarrassing.
That is true, and also putting it on Disney Plus in the first place was embarrassing. Yeah. It's a double embarrassment, but I'm not sure that Warwick Davis realizes that.
Yeah, this by Denise Petsky. Willow star Warwick Davis is not happy about the removal of Disney Plus fantasy adventure series from the streaming platform, calling it #embarrassing. I meet lovely people on a daily basis who are fans of Willow, who are the reason the Disney Plus series was made. Davis wrote on X, FKA Twitter, which I love that they're now abbreviating, formerly known as Twitter. Yeah. Please tell me, Walt Disney Company, what do I say to these subscribers when they ask why they can't watch the series anymore? #embarrassing. First of all, the fact that they can't watch the series anymore is probably one of the reasons they're still interested in the series. This is a show that is not widely known for quality. Right. And it's also quite divisive.
Well, we have to presume too, if they're going out of their way to, track down Warwick Davis and, feed him their thoughts and discussion. It's not, it's not only is it anecdotal, but you're being confronted by a very small pool of avid fans who would have supported this show. Unfortunately, this simply doesn't reflect the 4-quadrant audience that show was built for and budgeted for. So,
right, if Willow the series
self-selective.
If Willow the series had a large audience, then it would not be taken off of Disney Plus. There are things that I'm personally shocked that they're not still on Disney Plus, like prop culture. I liked The World According to Jeff Goldblum, although I disagreed with some of the ideological statements that they made in a couple of the episodes.
Sure.
It got me to the point that I was wondering if Imagineering Story might be in danger, and that is like. That should, if it were a film, it should get the Oscar for Best Documentary because it is an amazing thing that it happened. Whereas Willow here, it was kind of rocky from it. They knew that it wasn't going well, of course, when they announced there was going to be no season 2, and then Jonathan Kasdan kind of pretended like it wasn't canceled. It was just on a hiatus in which you let go of all of the actors and let them go do other projects. And you also don't go ahead and write season 2, which kind of sounds like canceled.
No, the script's right there. No, Kasdan, he's there. What are you talking about, Jonas? I could just turn this on tomorrow at a moment's notice. What? There's nothing inhibiting them from producing season 2, except for, nobody watched season 1, and they decided it would be better as a tax write-off than actually offer it on their streaming platform that is just starving for content.
Here's a really good point. This Willow, if we haven't mentioned this yet, is a Lucasfilm production. Did KK even bother to contact Ron Howard to see if he would be interested in returning to help reboot Willow? He was in the offices at some point. I mean, he did come in to fix Solo, which...
I was just about to bring that up. I don't know if he's taking Disney's calls right now because of how that whole situation landed at his doorstep. And even though he did try to do his damnedest to try to turn that thing around, there's just no going back from that. But I think this is really kind of critical here. Not so much for the, this obviously, but what we're talking about here, right here, but the larger implication that this has, right? So Warwick Davis has previously been kind of a team player, whether he was at Lucasfilm or with Disney. He hosts a bunch of panels there for Star Wars Celebration every single year. He's a fan favorite. For him to kind of turn course right here and speak out about this in such a kind of a public way, it just kind of tells you the cachet that Disney's losing around kind of Hollywood, around this kind of mystique that they've had. Previously, you never spoke out about the Mouse House, especially if you had business prospects with them remaining. For him to kind of feel so confident as to, have this hashtag embarrassing tweet out there, it's quite profound.
Well, think about it if you're Warwick Davis. I mean, do you really want to come out and say, I get accosted all the time by folks who say that was worse than bile. It was the most horrible thing I've ever watched, and I'm glad it's off Disney Plus. No, and he probably doesn't have that experience because people tend to not want to be piles of excrement and treat someone that way. He actually cares. He tried, and so you don't go up to somebody. I mean, a stranger, right? You know who he is, but he's a stranger to you, and you're definitely a stranger to him. You don't go up to him and say, hey, you were in that show that was so terrible they took it off for a tax write-down because it makes more money not being on their streaming platform. You don't do that. So I don't doubt that what he's saying is true from his perspective. I just also know that it's kind of cruel to even ask him about it because, I guess we asked George Lucas about the holiday special, so maybe we do that from time to time. But when you ask somebody to play you a concerto and they soil their pants instead, you just don't bring it up again. It's not polite.
Thank you so much for joining us for another discussion here on That Park Place. If you want to follow myself, Jonas J. Campbell, you can do so at the Twitter handle above. Of course, Vash Sky and the That Park Place News Network handle are also above. You can follow any of our contributors in the links down below. Of course, like this video if you do like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com for all the news that should be fun. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.